What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. WrestleMania is just 3 weeks away, and last night's Smackdown featured a fatal 5-way to determine Intercontinental Champion Gunther's WrestleMania opponent. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Rey Mysterio inducted into the Hall of Fame, a Japanese legend entering the Hall of Fame this year, WWE could be sent into chaos, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Now, as always, we start off with the good as number 1, a good tag team. Ricochet and Braun Strowman continue to look like a promising team, but it's clear they're not being booked as an upper card duo, let alone a championship caliber one. It's unfortunate because they present an interesting combination of power and speed that complements each other. They're also not doing anything as single stars, which is another reason to consider giving them a push as a tag team, because they work well together as opposed to some teams which are just two wrestlers thrown together. Number 2, Legado del Fantasma versus the Judgment Day. More please. Last night's 6-man battle between Legado del Fantasma and the Judgment Day made the case both for a rematch between the two and the need for a trios title. The WWE has enough factions that an interbrand 6-man tag could give more superstars TV time and provide fans exceptionally entertaining matches. Number 3, Except for Me. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair finally had their long overdue showdown on the mic. Ripley told Flair she could see her fears and her shortcomings, and she was going to take away the thing that means everything to her, the SmackDown Women's title. This made sense as the WWE's repeatedly had Charlotte talk about how the title drives her. Flair replied, telling Ripley that the nightmare may have improved, but she improves every day. Ripley may tear and rip apart anyone who stands in her way, anyone but Charlotte Flair. This was the confrontation both women needed, and they gave effective promos. Although Ripley is still developing her solo mic skills and the Queen is inconsistent, this promo delivered the goods. Number 4, Jay explains himself. A main event Jay's explanation of why he abandoned Sami Zayn made complete sense. It's all about family and blood, something Sami will never know as an outsider. A thing seemed to come full circle when the bloodline originated, as Jay told Jimmy it started with him. But one interesting aspect the announcers didn't touch on was whether Jay and Jimmy needed Roman Reigns. That's something they may not explore until after WrestleMania. For now, the reunion proved the idle lead into SmackDown's final segment. And I answer to them. The WWE Universe got a surprise appearance from Cody Rhodes after the Usos chided him for interfering in family business when he saved Sami Zayn on Raw. The American Nightmare showed up, telling the Usos he doesn't have to answer to Roman Reigns, he answers to the fans. Once again, Cody played a babyface to the hilt, acknowledging fans without sucking up to them. He also played a badass, telling the Usos if they had something to say it to his face. The subsequent brawl involving Cody and Sami versus Jay and Jimmy was good send-off for a largely unforgettable SmackDown. But that was a good what about the bad. As number 1, Valhalla's Mumbo Jumbo. So let's get this right, the Viking Raiders' manager Valhalla now has the ability to curse opponents? Does the WWE think her Danhausen-like powers are gonna give Eric and Ivar something special that's kept them from going over? What the Raiders need is a sustained push and some viable opponents. Things looked good when the WWE started a program between them and the team of Sheamus and Drew. However, the Raiders constantly jumped to Sheamus and Drew, bleeding the life out of their program. We know WWE has used supernatural or gothic elements successfully. If the WWE wants to continue the Raiders' spooky segments and hype videos, that's one thing, but last night's exchange between Valhalla and Ricochet was trash. Number 2, an awful tune-up match. Shotzi vs Charlotte Flair was a match full of blunders. Who was to blame? Well, it clearly looked like Shotzi was lost in the ring. Was it nerves? Was it Charlotte sandbagging her? Or was it something else? Unless the Queen was trying to make Shotzi look bad, the WWE needs to identify the problem and either send Shotzi back to NXT or put her into a tag team so she can work on her in-ring game. Number 3, stalled storylines. Triple H likes to let storylines breathe, but he's taking his time with too many Mania matches, chief among them Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Everyone knows the match is gonna happen, but how many more times will Rey have to deal with Dominic's antics? Likewise, what happened to Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt? Are they gonna drop the storyline, or is it trying to find a way to retool it? And a terrible use of time. SmackDown had some good matches, but nothing except the fatal 5-way stood out. Such was the case with the show's segments. The blue brand featured a handful of matches and failed to use hype videos and interviews to give undercard performers the TV time they need to get over. That was nothing downright ugly, but it was a weak Smackdown when you realize WrestleMania is just 3 weeks away. Is Triple H too busy keeping Vince out of his business to focus on the show? Smackdown has become hot and cold, with some shows shining like a supernova and others like a dismal 5-watt bulb. What did you guys think of Smackdown last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now first we look at Rey Mysterio entering the 2023 Hall of Fame. Atop of today's news is last night's announcement that Rey Mysterio is being inducted into the 2023 Hall of Fame. While the induction is well deserved, it's unusual for an active wrestler to enter the Hall of Fame. Rey's accomplishments are so many that we could produce an entire video on them. The second-gen wrestler entered the squared circle in 1989 at the age of 14 and would go on to hold the WWE's world titles 3 different times. In addition, he's captured many of the promotion's secondary and tag team titles, making him a Triple Crown and Grand Slam winner. One of the most interesting things about this induction is that WWE is using it to build up the feud between Rey and his wayward son Dominic. This is unusual, but as fans know, no promoter worth his salt will opt out on capitalizing on such a momentous event. Congratulations to Rey on his tremendous accomplishment. Next up, a Japanese legend entering the Hall of Fame. Now, in other 2023 Hall of Fame news, rumor has it that Japanese legend the Great Muta will enter this year's Hall of Fame class. PW Insider recently reported that Muta is being honored. Wrestling News commented on the potential induction, saying Muta's name was first reported by WrestleVotes in February, and it was noted that Muta's induction is part of a trade-off that allowed Shinsuke Nakamura to wrestle Muta in January at Noah the New Year 2023. As some fans are asking what the Great Muta's connection is with WWE. Although he never wrestled for WWE in the US, he was involved in a high-profile match on the 3rd May 1993 Wrestling Dontaku event. There, Muta lost to then WWF champion Hulk Hogan. In addition, the WWE's honoured wrestlers with little or no connection to the promotion based on their overall contributions to the industry. Next up, WWE could be sent into chaos. The WWE's rumoured plans to work with gambling sites to allow wagering on major matches could lead to complete chaos for some of the company's performers. While the gambling deals have not been confirmed, it's believed that such a plan would greatly reduce the number of individuals who know about the match's outcome. Dave Meltzer spoke on the Wrestling Observer Radio about how this could impact the matches themselves. If you're a guy and you've got a big pay-per-view match, if you're going to win the match or you're going to lose a match, the working of the match is very different. The story you tell is very different. These matches are crafted, set up with agents and all these people, and the structure of the match depends on many things, such as where are we going next, what is the match story, how do we lead to the finish, because what is the match finish? If you don't know any of this, Meltzer said that not knowing a match's finish will likely lead to difficulties for WWE's writing team, its producers, and its wrestlers. He went further, arguing that WWE will have to be careful not to make things too predictable, not for the audience, but because of gamblers figuring out the system. What do you think of Meltzer's comments? Will it send WWE into chaos if people can gamble on actual matches? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Rhea Ripley has a new Judgment Day member in mind. Is the Judgment Day expanding? Well, that seems to be the case based on Finn Balor's recent remarks that the Raw faction will be adding a new member after WrestleMania. While we don't know who might join the group, Rhea Ripley has an ideal candidate, none other than her former tag team partner Liv Morgan. The Nightmare recently spoke with WWE Diwak on Facebook and said she thinks Liv would be a great fit. Her new daredevil attitude does suggest she'd work out well in the group. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, good news for Jerry the King Lawler. A good news for Jerry Lawler and his fans, as the Hall of Famer is now at home recovering from his stroke that he suffered. PW Insider recently noted WWE Hall of Famer and Memphis wrestling legend has recovered enough that he was able to return home to Memphis, Tennessee this morning. Now we're happy to hear this report and send our best wishes to the King for a fast and full recovery. And finally, Saraya's faction reveals its name. And last but not least, Saraya, Toni Storm and Ruby Soho have been attacking AEW's homegrown original female wrestlers, determined to prove their superiority. Now the faction has the name, the Outcasts. This name is reminiscent of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall being dubbed the Outsiders when they invaded WCW in '96. But then again, the Outcasts are spray painting opponents much like Nash and Hall did during their New World Order days. Whether you call it an homage or a lawyer-friendly ripoff, the parallels are unmistakable. What do you guys think of the group's name? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.